Welcome back to our video. Today we're doing our week 4 picks for the NFL season, and at least in my opinion, the first few weeks of the NFL have really flown by. We have some really nice matchups this week, so I'm really excited to go over this. I will say I lost count of exactly like what my record is when it comes to my picks. Although if I had to guess, I'm pretty sure I'm around 3 games above 500, so not terrible. Week 2 I did really bad on, and that's what kind of dragged me down, and week 3 is back to being pretty good. So we're hoping to keep that hot streak going, and that includes the Lions and Packers. Now, this game should be really good, not only because it is a divisional game, but because the Packers are, at least as of right now, from what I've heard, supposed to have Christian Watson and Aaron Jones back. Which is obviously huge because Jordan Love's playing pretty well without those guys. Now having Christian Watson for the first time this season and Aaron Jones back since that Bears game, it's a huge boost to the Packers offense. But despite that, I am still picking the Lions. The Lions are a team I was very high on. I think a lot of people were going into this season. It's like one of the most improved in the entire NFL. And these type of games are the ones that I feel like the Lions couldn't win in the past. But since they are such a better, like just so much better now, I feel like these divisional games are now the games that they can actually come out on top of. So I'm now picking the Lions to beat the Packers in Green Bay in a very close game, though. I would assume by around 3 points either way. Whether the Packers win or Lions win, I think it's going to be very close. And then next is the first international game, which is, I believe, being played in London. I could be wrong, but I believe it's in London. It is the Falcons and the Jaguars. This is really tough because, you know, it's a neutral site, no team's home or anything like that. Also, the records, like, pretty similar, but also a little misleading because the opponents that each team's actually played. So I'm going to pick the Jaguars. They had a tough loss last week to the Texans. I can't see them playing that bad 2 weeks in a row. Also, the Texans have a very good record against the Jaguars in Jacksonville. So I guess it's just kind of how it goes when it comes to that game. I think the Jaguars bounce back. And I think the issue with the Falcons, whenever they get down and are forced to pass the ball more, Ritter's not able to really keep up. He missed a huge pass to Kyle Pitts last week. I think it's become more and more evident the more close games the Falcons are in when they have to push the ball down the field. It's going to become, I think, a bit clearer that Ritter's just not quite there yet. But over the course of this year, he might be able to kind of develop a bit more because, again, he's still a very young quarterback. But I'm picking the Jaguars in that game. Next is the Dolphins and Bills. I have no idea why this is just a 1 o'clock game. This should be like, you know, night game or something, but 1 o'clock, I'll take it. Dolphins and Bills, I'm picking the Dolphins. After a 70-point week and them beating the Bills last year, I got to stick with the Dolphins. Sorry, I'm picking the Dolphins. The Bills have had 2 nice bounce-back weeks in a row ever since that Week 1 loss to the Jets. I think the Dolphins are just a better team. My AFC East prediction video, I picked the Dolphins to win the division by at least 1 game, and so I have to stick with that, at least for this game, so I'm picking the Dolphins. Next is the Panthers. Look, it's very tough to lose hope after 3 weeks of football, but I have lost hope after 3 weeks of football. My goal for the Panthers this year is to just see Bryce Young develop, and it's really hard because guys just aren't getting open, and the play calling is bad. It's all over the place. Vikings by probably 15 to 16 points. I mean, I think it's going to be a pretty big loss for the Panthers. The Vikings defense isn't great, but it needs to be a game where Bryce Young can get back into the swing of things against a not great defense. But again, I don't know if he's playing for sure because he does have that ankle sprain. So maybe it's Dalton. I don't know. If it is Dalton, I will say he played great last week, so maybe he gets in a position to win this game. But either way, I don't think the Panthers are winning this, no matter how close they come. I'm picking the Vikings in that one. Next is the Broncos and the Bears. This is quite possibly the game that I care. I mean, I can't even say how little I care about this game. Dating back seasons worth of games, this has to be number 1 on the I couldn't care less list. So I'm going to pick the Bears, honestly. They're in Chicago. Maybe Fields runs around, scores. I don't know. I mean, the Broncos just got slapped by 50 points, and the Bears lost by, like, close to 40. So, I don't know. Maybe it ends 3-0, I guess. First one to move the ball more than 20 yards wins. Ravens and Browns, this is basically the opposite of the Broncos and Bears. It should be a very competitive and very close game. The Browns played the Steelers very closely. We haven't seen the Ravens and Steelers play yet, but I have a feeling the Ravens and Browns will be a very good game. I'm actually going to pick the Browns, though. The Browns defense is playing out of their minds, and the Ravens just struggle against that Colts defense. And I don't see the Browns defense being any easier for any reason. I mean, they are literally one of the top defenses in the NFL at this point in time. So I'm picking the Browns. And then next is the Steelers and Texans. This is one where I'm going to go on a limb here, maybe a little bit, but I'm picking the Texans. I love what Stroud has done. I just did a video on it, which you guys have really seemed to like, so thank you for all the support on the Stroud video, which is, I think, 2 videos ago from this one. If you didn't see it, go check it out. Just talking about how good Stroud really is off to kind of start his NFL career. But I do think this will be a huge test for him. The Steelers' defense is no joke. One of the best you can face in the entire NFL. And Stroud's been very careful with the ball. This is probably going to test his patience and his football IQ, but I am picking the Texans to win that game. I don't like the Steelers' offense, and that's what it comes down to. The Steelers' defense is going to give the Texans' offense a lot of problems, but I don't know if the Steelers' defense is going to be able to get off the field for very long, or I think they'll be on the field for too long because the offense, it's just not going to stay on the field long enough, if that makes sense. They're not going to be able to move the ball. I don't like the Steelers' offense at all right now. I think it's all out of whack. Pickett does not look confident at all. Najee Harris looks very slow. I think Jalen Warren needs to play more than him. You don't have Deontay Johnson. I think it's just not in a good spot right now. I'm picking the Texans, continuing their hot streak, beating the Steelers in Houston. Next is the Rams and the Colts. I'm picking the Colts. The Colts are kind of a big win against the Ravens. The Rams have a bad loss against the Bengals where they really struggled. And honestly, I just think it comes down to the Colts being the better team as of right now. I want to say Richardson's back, but I could be wrong about that. But either way, I think they win. So I'm picking the Colts. So next to the Buccaneers and Saints, which I think is going to be far from the most exciting game this week, but it is going to be one of the most competitive. You have Jameis Winston there for Carr as of right now, but both teams I think are very, very similar, and they're in a very bad division. So neither teams are very good, but they're pretty similar, if that makes sense. So I'm going to pick the Saints. I think Jameis comes in and plays pretty well against his former team. I think the defense gives Baker Mayfield some issues, and it just comes down to that. Also, Alvin Kamara's back, which doesn't hurt anything at all either, so I'm picking the Saints. Next is Commanders and Eagles, and look, I've been very high on the Commanders all offseason, but I'm picking the Eagles. It's just like Washington got smacked last week, and the Eagles have looked not great, but they're still winning games, and if you can win games while still not looking great, it's a good sign that you're still a really good team. So, divisional game, it'll be pretty close. Maybe. Depends what Commanders team shows up. If it's like the Commanders against the Broncos team that shows up, they'll probably give the Eagles a game, but the Commanders cannot play like they just did last week. If Sam Howell gets 4 turnovers, like you can't do that against anybody, but especially the Eagles. So I'm picking the Eagles. Maybe a close game, maybe not. Honestly, I'm not really sure, but I still think the Eagles win that regardless. Next is the Bengals and the Titans. I'm going to pick the Bengals. I think I've picked the Bengals No, I didn't pick the Bengals last week. I picked the Bengals to win the first 2 weeks, and they lost both. Then I picked them to lose, and they won. So I'll probably get this one wrong, I guess. But I'm picking the Bengals to win this because the Titans' offense has been wildly inconsistent. The first week, I picked them to win. They didn't look very good. The second week, they looked great with the Chargers, and then they fell off last week against the Browns. So I have no idea where they stand, but I'm picking the Bengals. They looked better offensively. Not great, but better. The defense is incredible. I think it stops the Titans' offense, and I have the Bengals winning that game. And then Raiders and Chargers, I'm picking the Chargers. Both are 1-2, but Chargers are by far the better team, even though they are 1-2 like the Raiders. Also, I believe Garoppolo is currently out as of right now, in concussion protocol. So I think with or without Garoppolo, you don't beat the Chargers. I'm picking the Chargers in that game. Over the next one, Cowboys and Patriots, pick the Cowboys. I think it's going to be a pretty low-scoring game. Both defenses are really good. But the Patriots offense, I don't think they are ready to face a defense as good as the Cowboys. But again, the Cowboys lost to the Cardinals, so who knows? But I'm still picking the Cowboys in that one. And then next is the 49ers and Cardinals. And this feels like a trap game because last game I was like, oh, Cowboys by a mile, and then they lost. So now it's like, did the 49ers win this game or did they lose this game? I don't really know. I'm still picking the 49ers, but if the Cardinals shock 2 weeks in a row, that'd be pretty wild. I'm here for it. I like kind of upsets like that, but I'm still picking the 49ers, and they're way better than the Cardinals. So 49ers in that one. Next is a game that would have been so exciting if Rodgers was healthy, but it's the Chiefs versus Zach Wilson in primetime football, and you can probably take a wild guess who I'm picking to win this game. It is the Chiefs, because they're just the better team. The Jets can't move the ball. It's time. Robert Saleh, I think, is trying to keep Zach Wilson's confidence by sticking up for him. But if you want to salvage this season, he needs to be sat and have a veteran brought in to try and win any sort of game, because Zach Wilson is not moving the ball well. He's just not, and it comes down to that. You're going to lose the locker room doing that. Not a good idea. I'm picking the Chiefs in that one. And then finally, the night game, Seahawks and Giants. This should be a pretty good game, but I'm picking the Seahawks. I think that first week, and I said this after the first week as well, I feel like that first week we'll be able to look back on and say that's like a game that kind of sticks out in the Seahawks schedule. I think they're way better than what they showed that first week. And since then, they have won 2 straight. I think they win 3 straight. I am not sold on the Giants as of right now. They look very just not all there. They won. It was a great comeback win, but you still at one point were down 21 points to the Cardinals. And maybe the Cardinals are better than what they look, but I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about the Giants as of right now, so I'm picking the Seahawks in that game, although I do think it will be close. Guys, that's going to do it for my week 4 picks. Let me know down below what games you agree or disagree with, what your picks are, what your favorite team's going to do this week, all that kind of stuff. If you are new to my channel, be sure to subscribe for more NFL and Madden content. NFL, we do week picks every week. We do power rankings every week. We do NFL tier list videos. We do NFL quiz videos. For Madden, we do a No Money Spent series. We do gameplays, pack openings, all that kind of stuff. So it's always football content on the channel one way or another. I also just launched channel membership. So if you're interested, go to my channel page, and next to the subscribe button, it should say join, and then click it, and then click whatever plan best fits whatever you're looking for if you want to become a member. If not, totally fine. Thank you for all the support regardless, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.